Well, everybody, it's another stellar performance. Are you okay?
I'm going to do my best to
Okay.
fail at underachieving.
Okay, we got another stellar performance of Conversations with Dick Vaughn with my wonderful dear friend Richard Morchoe. And Richard, it's always great to have you here. But I have to you mentioned some young lady from New York that you're kind of impressed with.
She's changed my life.
Really?
Oh yes, she said. Let's go over what she
Oh, I'm
said.
glad you brought notes.
We're like the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. Well, now I have direction in my life because, 12 years. Come on, we're not going to do this. We only have 12 years. I'm not that young. I'm going to borrow every cent I can.
Oh, go get a new Mercedes.
I'm going to get.
Yeah.
Why just one?
And, well, get a couple.
Yeah.
And then when at the end of 12 years, give them back to them.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
and the cruises on everything. I'm doing it all.
Good.
Thank you. AOC is what they call Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But I have to say,
She had a new one today, but they can't. They have to put little lines on it because she used a bad word.
why do people talk like that? I mean, I knew that word.
When you
we
were
both
11.
come from the Boston
Yeah,
area.
we grew up in the Tugs.
I mean,
We're a couple of Tugs from South Boston. Of course we know.
So anyway, Dick, as somebody in this office here opined, AOC, Alexandria, or Alexandra, has single-handedly ended the blonde joke.
Really? Well, I have to tell you, it's going to be very interesting to see because what usually happens with political people like that in the structures that we have, they hide them way over in the back corner. And she'll be on the committee to find out whether we should have a yellow rope or white rope to raise the flag over the Capitol. That'll be the committee that she'll end up chair of.
And isn't it time the federal government found Judge Crater?
Yes, yeah. I mean, they'll believe me. They'll move her around. But the thing that's, I'm sitting here and I'm saying, okay, as you and I have discussed, and I kept saying, but the problem with the next presidential election, the Democrats don't have anybody. But boy, are they finding them.
Well,
They are coming out of the. We got Pocahontas. Number one, dear Elizabeth.
I think she's gone off the deep end.
Oh, she's please.
She ain't coming.
I was watching. I was watching her the other night. Now she's in South Carolina, and I can't wait for Lindsay to take care of her down there. Oh, Lindsay will get her. Lindsay. They'll get Lindsay. But anyway,
we've got a few more people.
and
Go
now
ahead.
we got. Was it Kamala? Or Kamala?
Kamala, yeah.
Kamala Harris. Now she's jumped in. Now we got some guy. I can't think of his
Beto
name.
O'Rourke.
No,
fake
not
O'Rourke.
O'Rourke. It's another guy. Some rep. There's a rep that's running. He announced, or he's going to announce, and now they're trying to drag Beto in.
Oh yeah.
And so it's going to be something that I am always tremendously against as a planner. I mean, I run campaigns.
Yeah.
The last thing we need is 11 people running for president, because and I still feel. I look back at the one that Romney ran in. Had 10 of those people stayed out of there, he might have won that thing. And the thing that I find interesting is when you crowd the fields like that, it ends up, what happens is they have these debates with 11 people on the stage, and they're not really a debate per se.
They're absolutely not
They
debates.
just, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, and what happens, and they start beating each other up, calling each other names, blasting each other, and it causes them to have to spend all this extraordinary money extraneously ahead of the when you really need it. So by the time you get your nominee, he's beat up, bruised, and broke, and the other guy wins. And that's my fear. If they're going to have any chance at all, they got to have one strong candidate. And then I see that my dear good old friend Joe Biden, they're going to drag him out again. What was that? Remember that movie that they blew the thing, they had the blow up? What was that thing, that movie? Remember that funny movie? Drew, what's that movie where they had the thing, they blew up, the guy was in the boat and they blew him up? He was a blow up doll, like. Oh, they brought this guy back. It doesn't matter.
But Joe, we get
Joe,
Joe the blow-up doll.
They're going to rerun Joe again. And I saw a thing this morning that says he's in a stronger position than everybody else. Well, of course, that's name recognition, obviously. But it's over, Joe. You know, it's time to move on, and I got it. And of course, my real fear is guess who's sitting out in the woodshed waiting to run?
She ain't coming back.
Don't count your chickens.
She may come back to run, but she's beyond caricature.
Don't count those chickens.
I understand, but you know all those people who said they were moving to Canada?
Some people never go away.
If Trump won, they would move to Canada.
But they didn't
and
move.
I expected the roads would be, you know,
Nobody went.
clear. I would be able to drive everywhere because
No,
there'd be no traffic anywhere.
nobody went.
Well, nobody went. But
But-
if she came back,
You know, there was a great song. You keep coming back like a song. And that's all I can think of is, Hillary, please go away.
well, there was also
And they keep dragging them out, the two of them.
the country western standard we've discussed before.
Yeah.
How can I miss you if you won't go away?
That's right. You know, and so the things I look back at, and I'm saying, wow, this is the best we got. And I'm talking about the president and then all the other ones that want to be the president. If this is the best that we can come up with is Donald J. Trump and then Harris and Clinton and Warren and somebody Corker or whatever his name is, Croker or somebody.
I've always, many times before we've discussed this, and I've said, I've quoted, not quoted, but I brought up Alexis de Tocqueville, the man who wrote the book on American democracy, the Frenchman, came over and looked at it. He says, you never get the top-rated person or a first-rater to be president. It's always the second-rater. Now, come on. You know who Larry Ellison is, the guy who founded Oracle? Probably what they say about him. What's the difference between him and God? God doesn't think he's Larry Ellison. But Larry Ellison is a genius guy.
Yeah.
Nobody who's ever going to be president is going to be as smart as him. Warren Buffett. Do you think any of them are as smart as Warren Buffett?
No.
How about, I don't like Gates, but Bill Gates, he's smarter than them all.
Oh, yeah.
Second-raters become, third-raters become, and I say it as a fourth-rater.
Well, first of all,
Third-raters become president.
for many, many years, and you're not incorrect, for many, many years, the only way you got to the president would be get elected to the House, spend 6 years there, then run for Senate, get two terms in the Senate, and then you'd be up for vice president, and then maybe you'd run for president. So all you were was a political hack. You were the nicest political guy they could find, with the nicest smile.
Yeah.
And I know, and he was a person I knew. I had the chance to interview him. I ran his brother's senatorial campaign for a while, and I had great respect and affection for the Kennedys. But he got elected because his father had money, and he was a good-looking kid.
Do you think any of those Kennedys were as smart as the old man?
No.
Of course not. The old man, to tell people, address that. The old guy made the money. He never gets to be president. The guy who was smart never gets to be president.
No, he stayed in the background.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you, I think I've told you the story that John Kennedy told me. He said, I learned a lesson from my dad. He said, my father said to me, whatever you do, wherever you go, surround yourself with the brightest people you can find, and they'll make you look like a genius. Kennedy was able to do that in his administration, and it helped him tremendously. Now, Joe Kennedy did the same thing with his banking.
Yeah.
He went out and got a bunch of young, bright kids out of Harvard. He'd pull them right out of Harvard Business School, young. And listen, here's a family that, as of today, gets a nickel for every bottle of scotch that's done in Scotland. And he put that deal together, 1939, when he was ambassador to the King of St. James.
That's why I drink Jameson instead.
Well, okay, but I got to tell you, someone asked me one time what I want to do. I said, well, I'd have to be very careful because I'm not a diplomat. I said, because if I was the ambassador to the court of St. James, I'd have us at war with England. You know, so.
Yes, I understand that, Dick. I'm sure you would.
But anyway, the point is.
You'd wear that shirt to meet the Queen.
Well, her husband ought to use seatbelts. Can you imagine that guy out? That That old guy out there, 97 years old, rolls his Land Rover. How do you roll a Land Rover, number one, then didn't have his seatbelts on? And he goes out 2 days later and tries it again to see if he can improve on it.
Well, you know, they had a cartoon of Prince Charles, and he's saying, "Oh, please let mommy be with him."
Yeah, oh yeah. There's another intriguing story. How that old lady has held on to that child, won't put the kid in.
The Energizer Bunny.
She won't put the kid in.
No, no.
No, she won't. She won't give up that throne. And of course, I'm saying, I wonder why. Well, I suppose there's many reasons, but she's got her own. But can you imagine that? That poor kid had been waiting to be king since he was 2.
But you know, what's the point? I mean, I know there's a point in having a figurehead as head of state, because then not everybody is fighting to be
That's
king.
right.
They're just prime minister,
Yeah.
and you're gone in a while. But I mean, it's part of theme park Britain. It's a
Yeah.
Disney World thing.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. What was the Sarah Ferguson said that they were trained when you were up on the thing to wave like this, and she's called it screwing in a light bulb.
Yeah.
I mean, so you know, how badly do you want to have to want this?
But they go hoopy over the king and queen.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody gets married, they shut the country down.
Yeah, you know, you almost want to start a magazine, Royal Marriage, because if you go into the magazine rack, there's probably 10 of you.
Now they're taking bets on the name of the kid that Merkel's going to have. What's a boy or a girl? They're taking bets over there on what the name will be.
I think it's going to be Tyrone.
Yeah,
I think they're definitely going to name the kid Tyrone.
yeah.
I'll put my money.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, well, now I want to get into a very touchy subject. My concern is that we started out with a wall that the Mexicans were going to build. And there was no way we were going to build that wall, but we're going to have it, and Mexico is going to build it. Well, for the last, I'm trying to figure, it's about 5 weeks. All of a sudden, Mexico went away. And now we're going to build the wall. He wants $5.7 billion for the wall. Now, I saw the numbers this morning, and he's at the lowest he's been. His ratings are plummeting. And in fact, 57% of the people blame him for the shutdown. And only 40% are blaming or 36%, whatever it was, blaming the Chuck and Nancy show. And so it's interesting. And I'm sitting back, and I'm saying, in the meantime, we got people who haven't eaten. One fellow was on today, he's an air controller, and he says he had to pick up a part-time job. But he says, you know, compared to what we were making, it's a pittance. I'm struggling. Now, the Coast Guard hasn't got paid, and I think that's too bad. And I think they have 2 bills that's going to be, and you got Uncle Mitch, who's going to bring them both up. And one is the Republican bill, which includes the wall, which he already knows he hasn't got the votes for. And the other one is the ones that the Democrats are pushing, which says we're going to leave the wall out. All we're going to do is open the government till February 8th, so that gives us time to sit down and negotiate on this other situation.
We all know the Democrats are lying, though. We know they're lying.
Lying about what?
About, well, we'll talk about it later. Let's open the government and we'll talk about this.
Well, they're not going to give him that wall.
Yeah, so this is his only leverage. Now, I'm going to tell you what I actually, and I'm not a Trump. You think I'm a Trumper? I'm not. But
I think there are things. I think there are things you like about him.
Yes.
And admire him for, that I struggle with. That's all.
Okay. What I admire, one thing I admire, is somebody who will not worry about the popularity, will not worry that his ratings are low. That shouldn't be what somebody does in government. It should be, I will do this, the heck with the ratings. So that I do admire. The other thing is, all right, do you believe we should have a wall? If you believe we should have a wall, then yes, he should go to the mat. If you don't, then you're on the Democrat side, fair enough. But you can't say, you know, he's wrong to want what he wants if he believes it's right. You can't say that. Whether or not he's going to pay with it, yes, He's a liar. He's a politician. He's a liar. Bill Clinton said, I'm going to give you a middle class tax cut. And then he stood, I fought as hard as I worked as hard as I ever, not that he worked that hard ever. I worked as hard as I ever did in my life, and I couldn't come up with your middle class. He was lying. He was lying.
Well,
and you didn't, and
wait.
And there's no problem with that.
Let's be honest. And that's a
I refuse to do that.
terrible word.
I refuse to do that.
Did I
You
just
will
say
not
honest?
make me-
Did I just say honest?
You will not make me be honest, and don't think you can. Get the swords out, the pistols.
My point, I can't believe I said honest. Anyway, the point I'm making is that I am absolutely, look, first of all, let me share with you, and I've said this 100 times. The United States government, the state government, and most of our community governments are corrupt. We have corrupt people in office. Okay?
That's coming, Elizabeth.
We have corrupt people in office. Our government's corrupt.
Yes.
And as a consequence, that comes down. So, to your point, yes, they lie, because they lie to cover up their tracks. They lie to cover up their corruptness. They got their hands in the cookie jar. You know, every politician in office, and when the average person ever realized what these members of the House and Senate and what they get paid, and the benefits that they have for the rest of their lives.
Yes, it is so corrupt.
It is absolutely corrupt. When you're out of office, it ends. Oh, no, it doesn't. They get health insurance forever. They get a pension forever. It is an outrage what they do to the American people. Okay? And so, having said that, we have a corrupt government. And as long as we have a corrupt government, in order to keep it corrupt, they have to lie to protect themselves. So they lie. There's no question about it. Mm-hmm. Okay? No question. And it's painful, and it troubles me, and it hurts me, because it doesn't have to be that way.
I agree.
It doesn't have to be that
I
way.
agree.
You know, and I had an opportunity to be involved in government with various different people. And without mentioning names, because it's not important, I served with a governor who was, I don't know how to word, painfully truthful, and to a detriment. There were times when he was so, I hate to use the word squeaky clean, because it doesn't describe it. And I'd look at him and say, for God's sake, you know. And he used to get frustrated with me because I'd say things, you know, and dick, you know. And the point is that it used to drive him crazy. It drove him crazy, and that things could happen like that. That somebody would do that, you know. When one of our speakers of the House went to jail, he couldn't even. He was almost spastic for 2 days over it, because he couldn't believe that somebody in that position would do what the guy did. You know, and so there are those guys that come along once in a while. They don't go very long, they don't go very far, and no, he didn't win president, and so forth. But the point I'm making is that it's sad, because it doesn't have to be that way. And to your point, why are we in Syria? Why are we here? Why are we there? What are we, you know, it doesn't have to be that way.
It doesn't, but everybody, Democrats, the people who are Democrat, anti-military for years and years, are now saying we have to be in there, we have to stay there, we have to. He's betraying the Kurds. I didn't know it said in the U.S. Constitution, the United States will protect the Kurds forever. But you know, nobody wants him, either party. They're all for war. I don't get it.
The point is that that's the sad part. That's the sad part. We live in a violent world. Violent. I mean, you watch the news in the morning. I get up at 4:30 and I watch the Eye Opener on Channel 5. By the time they run the second set of commercials, I'm almost depressed. And you know, my wife will say, "What's new in the news?" "Oh, 2 guys get shot on Humboldt Street again. Different guys, new names, but like the other 2 yesterday, yeah, it happened again today. Oh, by the way, there was 2 hit and runs. Kid got run over in Chelsea. Kid got run over." And it's the same every morning. Yeah, right. Same every morning. Just the names have changed. Just the names have changed. And And then the commissioner was on, he was all excited because in the last 2 weeks alone, they got 44 guns. They collected 44 guns out of the 28,468 million that are in Boston.
Game changer.
Yeah, they got 44 guns. He was all excited. And by the way, and he was. Now, can you believe that they were excited because they were able, in the course of the last 2.5 weeks with these various shootings, to end up getting 44 guns off the street? And then that tells you that's the ones they got. Now, what about the 2,486,000 they missed? You know, and he says, there's way too many guns. You know, and you say, wow. Doesn't it scare you?
Well, yes, it does. I look at percentages and probabilities, though. You know, I mean, we're not at a point in the history of our country that it's everywhere. It's concentrated in relatively few areas, and where it spills over, it doesn't spill over that much. Would that deter you? You know, if I said, Dick, I'm going to give you the keys to a condo on Marlborough Street, and you and your wife can, you know, anytime you want, that wouldn't stop you from going down to Boston, would it?
Yep.
You would?
Oh, yeah. I'd say I like my little place on the lake, right here in Charleston. You know, we have a low crime rate. Things are pretty good. You know, taxes are low, and you know, it's pretty good
So
here.
it does scare you.
Oh, I tell you, I grew up there,
Yeah,
as you did,
I did too.
and I had a couple of tough weeks medically, and I ended up going. My doctor called me, get down here, I want to see you. So I went down and I called my son. He picked me up and drove me in. I usually take the T. I usually drive down to Riverside and take the T in, but I had a bronchitis, what I ended up with. So I had to be careful. So my son said, Dad, I'll come and get you. I'll take you in. So we drove in, and you drive into Boston, and boy, do you see some sights. Do you see some sights? And and even at MGH, you see some people who are all hunched over and they in a walker, and they, you know, boy, it's really sad. But when I take the T, you come off the station at Charles Street, MGH, and there's always 4 or 5 people sitting out there with their little buckets, you know, and you see these poor souls, and you know, and you just say, wow, no place to sleep tonight, no food, you know, and you see some tough sights, and then I say, and this is America, the land of the free and the home of the brave. Really? You know, I almost want to cry some days. You see some of these poor souls, and you say, whew. And then I bless myself and say, thank God. Thank God. You know, thank God that I did what I did in my life, that I got 5 kids, nobody's in jail. I got 3 grandkids, they're all in school. And I, you know, and if they need a sweater, we get them one. You know, if they need a jacket, they got one. And I say, God, I thank God that I'm in the position at this time of my life. And yet I look back and I see people who just, and it drives me nuts that we have money. If somebody in Kalapaluka gets a mudslide, we send 3 airplanes, 600 Marines, $28 million, and 46 doctors. Mm-hmm. Okay? And we got kids in this country who haven't eaten today. And we got people in this country who haven't got a place to sleep. Now, to some degree, some of them, it's their own fault. They've done this themselves. They brought it upon themselves, etc. But that doesn't make it right.
Yeah, and we all think about that. We all see this and we all think about it. The question is, what can you do about it? I think part of it, you remember?
Well, you know what we can't do about it? We really can't do anything about it, and I'll tell you why. Because of greed and selfishness and stealing and scams and somebody out there trying to grab you the money. You know, I remember I was in Rotary for many years. We did a big project. There was a country that needed eyewear. We did a big program. We raised all kinds of group of Rotary clubs. We got all kinds of things, and working with the Lions. Lions are big in classes. And came time to ship them. And they said, you can't ship those here. Well, what do you mean? Well, the minute they get here, the big shots in the country will grab it. They'll never get to the hospital where it belongs. Well, we ended up hiring a security force. And the guy says, well, the security force is the president's. It's going right to the palace. You're not going to get those to where you. Yeah. Real. So what happens, as we know, a lot of the money that we send, this foreign aid, never gets to the people who need the foreign aid. It gets to the presidential palace and ends there.
My cousin was in the Peace Corps, and he built an aqua culture thing with the tribe. As soon as he was gone, the big shots took it over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're right. But our poor here that are you saw them there. How much of that is deinstitutionalization?
Oh.
We had a place for them, remember?
Yeah.
Hidden away, and it wasn't pretty.
No.
So what do we, I have no answers there.
Well, the thing is, they talk about, give you a classic example, and I've experienced it. They talk about opioids and alcoholism, and they have these recovery centers. Some of them are run by major hospitals, like Partners runs McLean. It's a ripoff. If I took you, Dick, and I put you in a ward, and I lock the door every morning and every night, and when you come for a visit, you got to get a pass, and they let you in to see your loved one, and they kept you locked up for a week, you wouldn't drink either. Because they don't have a bar in there. Okay? So they keep you for a week.
What about civil rights?
Let me finish. They keep you for a week for $2,500, and you get a psychiatrist for 6 minutes every morning and a pill. And you get out, and 2 days later, you're back buying booze. Okay? It's a ripoff. But they do it over and over and over. Now, some people do make it. Now, you can go to an AA meeting, and you drop a buck or a quarter in the bucket when they pass it. And if you do what they tell you, get a sponsor, don't drink, and come to the meetings, you're going to be fine.
Restitution.
Yeah, you're going to be fine.
Talk to the higher power.
And you're going to be okay. And it works. I mean, I go to a meeting, 40 years sober, 20 years sober.
Yeah.
Lady got her 1 year pin the other day. Everybody's up cheering, hugging her. It's great. But then you sit back and you say, but would you change it for any other place, Dickie? No, I kind of like it here. No, I think I'll stay. You know what I'm saying? With all its frailties and with all its pain and with all its troubles, would you go anywhere else?
This is my homeland.
Yeah. I'm going to go home in my nice little house tonight, have dinner, relax.
Yeah.
No one's going to bother me. Be wonderful.
Well, most of the time in West Brookfield,
And
that's true.
if I don't put on the TV and watch the 6:30 news and have David Muir spend 12 minutes on, you know who.
So
Now that's the last thing. No more press briefings. Told Hickleby, whatever her name is. No more.
Sanders, or Sanders,
Yeah. Told her no more.
Well, why should he?
Well, he says it's a joke. They're rude and they yell at you. Don't do it anymore.
Well, do you think he's wrong?
It's fake news.
Do you think he's wrong
No.
to do that? I think that would be a little shrewd.
No. Do it. Let them have it. It's fun.
For whom?
For me.
Okay, we all know the democracy is only to serve Dick Vaughn's purposes.
It's a circus. I love to watch them, and I like to watch her defending what he said that he said he didn't say, and then they play the tape that he said it, and then Rudy, boy, is Rudy helping him. Woo!
Yeah, well, Rudy.
Now they got a story today that they asked him, please don't go on after you've had a few drinks. Evidently, he's been going on night TV after he's had a few drinks.
Have the drinks after, Rudy.
Yeah, afterwards, not before the show.
I think somebody's figured out. We invite Rudy on later.
Yeah.
He goes out, he goes to his favorite restaurant, has some pasta, has a little vino, and he's happy. Well, who wouldn't be?
Yeah, why not? There you are. Hey, folks, did you enjoy the show today? I had a great time.
Subscribe.
I really enjoyed it.
I did too.
Richard, thank you very much.
Subscribe to TV
Conversations
Conversations and the Long Hill Report.
Here you go.